Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Yoga for the Creative Soul book club gathering today, where we're talking about karma and dharma. Yes. So we're just getting ourselves going in part two of Yoga for the Creative Soul. I honor the tradition of yoga that's brought us these ideas. Yoga, traditionally an oral communication in India that's been going on for 5,000 years or more as we explore the nature of reality and the nature of the soul. The Indigenous peoples of Canada and the United States, the lands upon which we are privileged to live, work, convene, and create, have been held by the original caregivers for time immemorial, and I wish to honor those caregivers as they continue to do the work for future ancestors to protect the lands, airs, and waterways and the people who inhabit these lands. We're going into chapter 6, which is the path of purpose, as we find purpose in the work of creating for ourselves. And today we're looking at the purpose, the sacred duty that underlies our creative work. So if we have a look at, well, forgot to share my screen. So we can look together at this idea of the purpose and this path of the 5 paths that we talked about last week being made up of 4 paths according to the Bhagavad Gita, or in the modern 5 paths, to know the true self, to understand the nature of reality, or in the context of Yoga for the Creative Soul, to connect to the creative self. So as we're here experimenting with how can I learn more about my creative self and how can I hold myself accountable to creating, karma is the idea of action and the outcomes of the action. So you've heard what goes around comes around, a simplistic view of how karma works. If you dive into the Yoga Sutras, you'll learn more about the 4 kinds of karma and the different ways that karma will play. But for our purposes today, we're thinking of the path of karma yoga for our creative selves as simply being the path of working at it. And what you may have missed if you're watching the recording was the NaNoWriMo, which is write your novel in a month, that is going on right now. Some of you viewers might be very familiar with the novel writing challenge of writing your book in 30 days, and some of you may have never heard of it, but that's NaNoWri, like the beginning of the word write, WRIMO. And so to achieve something like writing a book in a month means that you are working at it, you're setting targets, and you are holding yourself accountable to meeting the targets, not with attachment, which we'll talk more about next week, but with the simple act of doing what you do because it is the thing to do, striving for that karma neutral place. You know, in pop culture, they talk about good karma and creating good karma. Good karma is nice. It's definitely better than the alternatives, but most karma is actually mixed. Anyways, if we zoom out and look at the big picture of where these karmas are going, most of them are mixed. But to aim for neutral, not creating any karma, is really where we're looking to be. not create. Create for creation's sake, create the life of your dreams, create your soul's journey and connection with the soul, but not creating more karma in the world. Plenty of karma to burn off already. But that objective working at it for the sake of working at it, this might be the path of karma yoga. And if you think about the way you approach something like maybe brushing your teeth, where it's just this thing that you do, that's kind of where we're aiming as we're working at it. The path of karma yoga, you can think of as the path of purpose, the work that you do without attachment, being of service, whether that's service to your unique and divine soul, whether that's service to loved ones or a community or the divine as you define it. But there's a humility, a service that can be in the effort or simply action. This is the thing that's in front of me, so I'm going to do it. And that and ideas that go alongside those ideas represent the path of karma yoga. So there in the slide again, the definition of karma, to act, or the outcomes of those actions. Dharma being sacred purpose is where we're going to focus our creative energies today. And in just a moment, we'll do an activity together to support us in getting in contact with this personal Dharma or our own creative Dharma. So some folks who are watching more for the purpose of mental health and trauma recovery. When we go into the activity and talk about exploring creative purpose, maybe that's you creating the life of health and balance that you're looking for, more so than the act of being a creative person. But however you define it, we're starting from a vision of purposefulness, not an attachment to an end result, but an understanding of what is the essence that initiated the action in the first place. If karma is outcomes of action, then knowing the intention or the purpose behind those actions can help dictate the outcomes, can help guide the karma or hopefully neutralize the karma. So as we're considering what might my sacred purpose be, we can look at how Dharma is shown to us through inquiry into who am I really? What gifts was I born with? What aptitudes do I have naturally? What have I cultivated within myself that I believe are strengths or could be offered in service to my personal work, to my loved ones, to my community, to the world at large, to spirit? So contemplation of gifts and aptitudes, and even while I'm talking, you can jot down some initial ideas of this or pause the recording and explore a little bit. Elsewhere in Yoga for the Creative Soul, you will find further exploration on Dharma and purpose, I believe in part 1 or part 3. So that's not super helpful, is it? But it's there in the book, and we've already covered it together previously. Now, another way that you can get in touch with your sacred purpose is your interests. Our interests are a calling from the soul, aren't they? And our interests guide our attention. Our interests fill our minds in a way that has some intensity to it, in a way that we're able to focus, that we remain curious. So what we're interested in is a clue about what our sacred purpose might be. And finally, less fun, maybe, another way of unearthing our sacred purpose is to look at the trials we have faced in life. What have we learned from our pain? What have we had to go through that others in this world also have to go through? When we experience pain in life, hurt and devastation and confusion, this might be an essence of what brings us together as humans, even though in the phases of grief, we might feel very alone and isolated. As we work through our grief, our pain, as we face our trials in life, we gain insight. And this insight, when shared, also helps others not feel so alone. There is a sacred purpose in joining together in the interest of recovery and connection. So, personal struggles or lessons that you have learned, things you've had to go through, might also shine a light on what your sacred purpose is. So, we have been thinking of karma and dharma in terms of these definitions, but with a few deep breaths, if we carry this forth into creative action, let's visualize where we may be headed with our creative intentions. Let's connect to some purposefulness as our creative souls. So what I'm going to do is ask you a series of reflection questions. And in response to these questions, you may free write, do that thing where you keep the pen moving and don't let it stop, even if you wind up repeating yourself. You can write it as a list or a descriptive paragraph. You can collage it if you have images nearby, collect those images, doodle it, sketch it, perform something abstract with your paint or pastels, express it through interpretive movement or your musical instrument. However you want to work with these curiosities, I encourage you to do that. Don't just think about them, but give yourself the opportunity to express your felt sense or the answers that may be coming through in response to these curiosities. So the first step is to, and this activity, by the way, spans across page 85 and 86 in Yoga for the Creative Soul, as we're just entering chapter 6 here. Reflect on why, in the first place, do you wish to be more creative, or improve your mental health, or create certain aspects of your life? Why? How is it beneficial for you to connect with this creative essence? Do others benefit as well, and in what ways? How does your creativity relate to what you deem to be your purpose in life? How is your mental health or recovery helping you be more of who you truly are? You know, these are a lot of questions, and you can just pick and choose the aspects of this inquiry that resonate with you. Do you believe you have a duty to express yourself through your mental health journey or through your creative acts? Do you have a duty to express yourself in that way? And if so, why? What's the duty? What's it all mean? And I shall play along with you, using a visual medium today. But again, you're welcome to express this inquiry about purpose in whatever way is a fit for you. you're watching the recording and you want to go back and listen to that series of questions, and just pause between each one if more than one of those curiosities resonated with you, then I certainly encourage you to do that. Ultimately, we're looking at is there a purpose in your mental health or connecting to your creative self? And if so, what is that purpose? Do you want to be more creative or healthier? If so, why? As you are expressing through this first step, every so often check in with your body, notice your breath. What are your other senses telling you as you're creating? This intention setting activity, this idea of connecting with our creative purpose, is just a two-step activity today. So, what I'd ask you to do next, once you're through that brainstorming activity in whatever way you were expressing and engaging with it, what I would ask of you next um, is to set an intention. So in many ways, you've been doing that or have done that already. As we've gathered weekly and moved through Yoga for the Creative Soul, you've been asked to set intentions. And here we are again as we're in the chapter of Karma Yoga, chapter of creating with purpose, connecting to the true self through creative acts. We're looking at the purposefulness, the intention there. So this intention doesn't have to be a big deal, right? This can be a simple image that you sketch out or photocopy and post around your home and in your workspace. This can be a feeling, a somatic interpretation that you bring yourself back to again and again, an embodiment, a way of being in the world. This can be a quote, a phrase, a song lyric, a mantra, but whatever it is for you, write down that intention and then give yourself some time now to also create or express around that intention. In some way, creatively, expressively, interpret the intention. So you're working with it through more of the layers of yourself. Why am I creating or striving for mental health? What is my purpose in this? And again, notice your breath, your body. How does your hand move across the page? What happens if you make this ambidextrous? If you started off visually, but you're done that expression, what happens when you make it physical or musical or auditory? Breathing, creating, embodying this sacred purpose. Intention guides outcomes. Where the mind goes, the prana flows. When we set ourselves on the path of karma, and remember, typically we're playing in all 5 paths to varying degrees simultaneously, but for the next few weeks, we're focusing on this path of action and purposeful action. As we carry through, let that intentionality, let that purposefulness be with you in whatever ways you're creating mental health or connecting with your creative self. Some days you're not going to feel like it, right? I think that's a big part of it. And that would sort of be the tendency of the bhakti is I don't feel like it. And that's where our karma yoga selves can come up and say, well, feelings are feelings. They're constantly changing, but this is our intention. And so we're just going to do the action. And maybe we'll feel worse while we're doing the action. Maybe we'll feel better. Maybe we'll feel better when we're done. Maybe we'll feel worse. That is the heart speaking through. That is a different path that we will talk about in future. But the action, carrying the intention through and acting upon it as neutrally as possible, by the way, is what keeps us in service to our souls, in service to our intention, and perhaps in the bigger picture, in service to the world at large or divinity. Intention guides the work itself and the outcomes of the work. So in case it's useful, I'll share what I came up with in this 2-step intention setting process. The first step was reflecting on why do we wish to be more creative? Essentially, what's the purpose or mental health? And so I just kind of drew my little face representing myself and then heart, and the heart representing connection to my body as it is, to my body being healthy through my actions and choices and whatever I can control for my physical health, controlling that. Control might not be the right word, but taking action in that direction. um, and in service to my health, expressing creatively, finding the joy in color and motion and sound and imagery. Um, and when I'm better, the world is better. When you're better, the world is better. Every life we touch is impacted. And for as much as we're striving for karma neutral, remember that most karma is mixed, right? And in these human interactions, neutrality can look very loving, neutrality can look very kind. That people are impacted by what energy we're bringing to an interaction. So the purpose is my health first. And when I'm at my best, creative, inspired, then the hope is that that ripples outwards and makes the world a little better instead of a little worse, as opposed to when I'm grumpy. And then just to state an intention, I stated unity. Unity, just echoing what I already said, right? Harmonizing my physical health with my energetic health, with my mental health, with my health of my true self, and the health of spirit as a whole. You know, that place where we move from a unique individual into blended consciousness, into ultimate consciousness. Yes. And then I drew like that was my attempt at the strong emoji, you know, the strong emoji. And um, this guy is just the Ida and Pingala represented from the base of the spine and sitting cross-legged all the way up to eyeballs, third eye, and crown chakra. So I do these little expressive activities with you so you can see that they don't need to be a big deal. But I do encourage you as you go forth in your week to elaborate what we do here. Make it your own. If something really strikes you from these meetings, then go with that and build upon it. Enjoy it, right? Love it, live into it, feel it come through you. And in taking the action, know that you are following that path of service, the karma yoga path to your creative soul. Please do also inspire others, changing the world through your actions by sharing to the group. Let us all see what you are coming up with or how you are working to neutralize karma and allow your true purpose, your dharma, to shine through. We always love to know what others in the group are doing. So we're back next week at 12:30. This one's a little bit up in the air as I am out of province. So I will post in the group if something winds up disrupting our meeting next week, but we should be good to go. I look forward to connecting with you all then as we look a little bit more into the role of acceptance and what does deeper acceptance mean, especially in the context of this karma yoga path. Thank you for watching and for being here. Remember also to like and comment on the video and share it with anybody that you think might benefit from this inquiry or these practices. All the best.